being here day one of working. How's everyone feeling? After a day out in the sun, I bet our roofers feel really good. Yeah, after 100 degrees outside. Alright guys, let's stand up and we're going to worship our God and we're going to do a throwback that's a River of Life favorite, so y'all get ready to dance after Amanda says some stuff.
Sorry guys, real quick, crew leaders and kids too, y'all remember that any additional supplies that you need tonight or in the morning, we have plenty. We got plenty of rollers, we got plenty of brushes. Don't forget to gather up your tools tomorrow, okay? Kids, don't wait for your adults to do it. Y'all help gather up your tools and get ready to go, okay? But if you need more tools, we've got plenty of rollers, brushes, all that kind of stuff, okay? Thanks, guys. Woo!
you alive and living on the inside. My God's not dead, show you alive and living on the inside. Going like a light, my God's not dead, show you alive and living on the inside. Going like a light, my God's not dead, show you alive and living on the inside. Going like a light again.
your name. With all creation sing, let earth resound with heaven's praise, and with one voice, let all creation sing. Let every heart, let every tongue lift up your name. Let all creation sing. Let every sound with heaven's praise, and with one voice, let all creation sing. Let all creation sing. As we sing, sing out. We sing, holy is your name. We sing, sing out. We sing, worthy is your name. Man, y'all can have a seat.
Some bars. Break. I'm gonna break a bar, bro. Break the bar. Yeah. Power team, bro. Power through. Oh, I got you. I'll spot you. Go. Yo, let's do it, okay, bro. All right, don't let me beat you. Try this. Try this. We'll move along.
You gotta breathe properly if you want to get the gains, bro.
Get deep. Show what cargo loading. Yeah. Come on, Brick. Push, brother. You got it, man. Come on. I've seen you do it 1,000 times. Brick, come on. You got it. Be a strong man. Do it for the game. Do it, bro. All right, Brick. Sorry, man. I got you. Don't let that stick beat you. You're better than the stick. You're a Brick.
I'm Brick, bro. Brick, stick. It's true, bro.
How about you break this? Bend it. Give it a little bended. Show them what carbo loading does.
Carbo loading is key, bro.
Get it, son.
The games, bro.
Get it, son. Dig deep. It's gonna take everything that you've got. Pretend like it's a stick. Think through it. Everything you've got, give it a bend. Get some. Yes. On the game. Yeah. All right. So last night, how do we beat our games? We taught you a little bit about the nutrition that is required for pecs like these, for biceps like these, and like those. And I want to continue that theme by talking to you guys about bad calories.
Bad, bro.
Not all calories are good calories.
They are not.
Not all calories are good for those sweet gains that we're all about. So, we're going to teach you guys, just like we were taught, with a little bit of negative reinforcement.
That's right, bro. To take you right
The
on
bad calories.
Take you right on
You
the
see,
highway.
our sweet, ripped trainer taught us through negative reinforcement to avoid those bad calories because they get in the way of gains.
Gains, bro.
Just like, you got a spider on you, bro. I got you.
Oh, bro.
Like when your dog goes a poopy in the house and you give him a little pop on the bottom, that's negative reinforcement. We're going to give you the equivalent of that of not popping any bottoms besides baby bricks because we're gym bros and it's cool that way.
Yeah, we celebrating gains, bro.
A couple of you lucky guys and gals will be able to join us up here on stage to benefit from even more of our caloric tutelage. So from Canaan, I need Ainsley Abercrombie. Then from River of Life, I need need Austin Young. And lastly, from Cornerstone, I need Timothy Brandon.
That's my boy!
Look at these games, bro.
So, what you have before you, we took a quick trip over to the nursery. We scooped up these little ditties.
They're gross, bro.
And inside of each of these, there's a handful of Whoppers. But
It's a Whopper, all right.
it's a Whopper. So, here's what you need that, bro. Don't be throwing the balls around like you don't know. Alright, so when I say go, first one to spit 6 clean Whoppers. Don't be spitting the poopy pudding in my bowls, bro. 6 clean Whoppers into their bowl wins. But you cannot use your hand.
Yeah, bro.
This is negative reinforcement. Ready, set, go! I need to see 6 clean. Oh, you got 1. You gotta dig deep. You gotta
Get
dig
in there,
deep,
bro.
Ansley from Cannon. Don't be a bro. Poopy diapers beat you. Get the game, bro. Get the free over here. They're learning their lessons real
I
hard.
think he's done this before.
We got 3. They're neck and neck on this side of the table. Y'all come forward and cheer on your church. They're doing this.
Yeah.
What we got? He's got 1 more. 1 more. He's got 6. Did he find it? Gotta dig in there. He's not up. He's got 5. It's a really close race. And we're done. The game.
Hey, bro. You show us the games? Show us the games, bro.
So, so, losers can take a seat. You can keep your Whoppers in. You can keep the diaper too if you want. No, you've got 8 like that. Alright. So, you as your prize need to take your selfie with either brick or scale. So who do you want? No, leave the poop on. I think it'll
Yeah, bro.
hashtag no filter doo-doo. So who are you taking a picture with? You guys can take a seat. You can clean yourself up if you want. Brick. Steel. Alright, you got those with me.
No, let's see some games.
Let's keep it.
That's beautiful, bro.
Yes! Now, I know that there are many of you in these 3 other churches that think that you need to avoid the tutelage of brick and steel, but oh no. Everybody's playing tonight. So from Forest Hills United Methodist Church, I need Abby Pollock to come. From Trinity, I need Braxton Benko. And from First Unity Brunswick, I need Kane Thompson. There we go, Gil. Games, bro. Sick games, bro. All right, you can take a seat, winner.
Yes. So just remember, you guys. Remember, hey, you might have had tough down roof. Might have been a lot of shingles. The pain might have been a problem, but you didn't have as crappy a day as they did. So, hey. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more games!
to y'all because it is something that I heard, and from the get-go, I was like, this is a River of Life song. And it's not necessarily because it's kind of catchy and it's really fun, and I'm sure that y'all will find some way to put emotions to it, like you always do every year, to every song. stop making fun of me, Bobby Totten. But it talks about generations, and to me, like, that's a River of Life song, because you guys are the future. Like me, I'm not much older than you. We're the future generation, and all the work that we're out in the community doing, it's kind of a big deal. And you might think that it's not a big deal, like, oh, I'm just painting or fixing a piece of wood or whatever it is. But these older generations that we're serving, they see that. But the whole point of the song is just singing about how faithful God is. So let's sing about it. Amen.
Changing hearts.
this opportunity that we may shout out, we may sing out to you. We thank you for all you've done for us today, keeping us safe on our work sites. And we ask that you continue to protect us as we go through the week. And I ask that you now be over Jeremy as he comes and brings the message that you've laid on his heart. In your name I pray, amen.
All right, if I am faithful to the song that we just sang, then I will tell it to the masses that he's God. Amen? Amen, he's God. Trying to get my remote control here to work. Well, there's supposed to be a question that I put up on the board. Is it on your computer back there?
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not on mine.
That one?
Hey, very good, very good. Okay, well,
Is your
we'll
remote control
figure that out
called
at some point in time, but I wonder what else is missing. We'll see. Folks, I'm really excited about the message tonight, and primarily because my hope is to inspire you, it is to challenge you, and to hold your attention, because you've been at work all day, right? It wasn't hot at all. It was a nice, cool 94 degrees today. Yeah? See? Awesome. Look at you, Jonah. Just don't pray for a worm. The Bible nerd gets it. There you go. Good job. I thought that I would start by asking this question. Have you ever had something that happened that just totally changed you? And I can tell you for myself, one of the things that totally changed me was my first ever river of life. Now, we established last night that I'm old. Okay, that I am considerably old, consider I'm old enough to be the youth pastor of the girl that was speaking last night. She's still a girl to me, all right? She's a woman to you, but she's still a girl to me. I've been doing this is my 18th river of life. How many of you are 18 and older? That's very few hands. Okay, so we've just established once again that I am really old. Now, the thing about River of Life that changed me forever, it was my first River of Life, and I promise you, if this is the first time you've ever done River of Life, you will always remember the first time that you go. My first River of Life was in Effingham County, Georgia, in a town called Rincon, and we did projects all over Rincon, but the reason that River of Life is set apart in my mind is that it is literally the hottest I have ever been. Now, you're telling me, okay, you're not physically telling me, but you tell me with your eyes, today is the hottest that you've ever been, right? I promise you, Rincon, Georgia in 2000 was the hottest River of Life of all time. Now, the main reason being that we were in South Effingham County High School. You all get to come stay at Forest Hills, and you get to sleep in our luxurious conditions. All right, our accommodations are second to none. You have carpet. You have carpet. We did not. We had tile floors. Now, here's what really sets your jobs apart, or your sites apart from us. You guys get to go take showers in different places. We stood in line and waited to use the showers in the gym. So guys, just go ahead and know, gym shower, single pole, everybody in a circle. Enough said, right? If you've ever seen that, enough said, okay? The real kicker with this River of Life was two things. One, I was unprepared to be so hot. The biggest thing being that they send out a little list, and it says, make sure that you have, your towel, your sleeping bag, your mattress, or your pad, or whatever. I opted for a pad. Me! I'm sleeping on a pad that is this big. That lasted one night. I sent somebody to Walmart. Bought my first ever air mattress. Second problem, I don't have a fan. Third problem, the air conditioner was out. Now, hottest I've ever been in my life to that point in time, probably since then. At South Effingham County High School, the guys got to sleep in the chorus room and band room. And there are these big, gigantic rooms, and we get in there, and now the main meeting rooms and the girls' sleeping rooms, they all had air conditioning. But we go back to the guys' rooms, and as we're loading in our stuff, they go, oh, the air went out yesterday. And I'm like, say what? Like, I paid money to be here. What do you mean the air went out? And they're like, yeah, you know, we're going to try and get fans, but we can't get them until tomorrow. And I'm like, what? Hottest night of my life. I promise you, if it had been acceptable or safe sanctuaries, I would have been in nothing. Because it was unbearable. Unbearable. 85 degrees in that room. 85 degrees in the dark with no fan. I was cooler when I've been on mission trips in Haiti. Okay? I'm telling you, it was the hottest I've ever been. And we get into this room, and there's like 40 guys in this one room, and we're like uncomfortable. We're laying, you know, on my mattress pad. I don't even know if you can call it that, my foam thingy. I'm laying there, and I'm like just covered here because everything else is just completely off, and I'm sweating. And I'm just like, Lord, please just let me go to sleep. It is so hot. And you know, it's first night. Y'all were here last night, and it was like a lot of chatter, right? And you know how it is when you get a lot of chatter and then it kind of dies? Right? It kind of dies, and you got that like little bit of calm. Well, that happened to us. And right at that point in time where we get a little bit of calm, in the darkness you hear, I have never been the same since. I don't know who this kid was. I have no idea who this kid was. But in the dark, I was like, I love him and I hate him all at the same time. Like, he was absolutely a comic genius that I wanted to murder in that moment. And it gets calm. And he did it. He did it like 4 times. And all I remember is the shadow of this man whom I didn't know at the time going, if you do that one more time, I will break my foot. You know, I was like, whoa, so thank you. You know. Have you ever had something that just totally changed you? That hot night changed my life. River of Life, I mean, had nowhere to go but up from that moment. You know, and it's been awesome ever since. The next night we had a fan and it was great and it was cool. But my first River of Life was unbearably hot. Speaking of hot, I want to tell you a very famous story about these guys here, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Very famous story from the Bible. You've all heard it, right? And a couple of you are like, yeah, a couple of you are like, I don't know that story. It's not David and Goliath. Some of you have heard it as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And you're like, oh yeah, I remember from Sunday school. Very good. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Very cool story. We're talking about chain breakers. These guys had this amazing situation that we're in the book of Daniel in chapter 3. These are the 3 guys that get bound and tossed into the fiery furnace. If this story is unknown to you, let me give you kind of the synopsis of it. I'm not going to read you the entirety of chapter 3, but it goes like this. The Israelites, God's people, the Hebrews, they're in the promised land at some point in time, and they've gone through the Exodus. They've gone through the conquering of the promised land. They've gone through the judges. They've gone through the kings, and then they go through this period in history where they're conquered and they live in exile. People are snatched out of the promised land and they're dropped in this place called Babylon. And that's where the story picks up in Daniel. That the Hebrews are in, God's people are in exile in Babylon. There are 4 primary characters in the book of Daniel that we see a lot about, stories about Daniel, and then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, these guys, they're in Babylon, and they are being enculturated. Now, that's a very big word, but basically what it means is that the king of Babylon wants to make everybody in the whole world Babylonian. And so what he wants to do is he wants to make everyone behave and learn and live and act like a Babylonian. And so he takes the best from all these cultures that he conquers, the Hebrews being one, and he wants to make them contribute to Babylonian society, make things better. He snatches engineers and teachers and all these kind of folks. And of this group, he's got Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Now, these guys, they set themselves apart. We're not going to follow all the things that the king wants. And then we find ourselves in chapter 3, where the king has made this golden statue. And as this golden statue is made, he tells everybody in the land, when the band plays, the music's going to happen, you're going to stand up, you're going to hear the music, you're going to fall down on your knees, on your face, you're going to worship the gold statue. And if you don't, there's a punishment. The punishment is the fiery furnace. And so everybody they're hanging out, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, and the statue's there, and the band plays, and they fall down on their face, and they worship. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they don't. And there's people that are watching, because we haven't figured out yet. Somebody is always watching you. Always. And people are watching these guys, and they go and they tell the king, hey, you made this statue and you made these rules. And these guys, they don't follow it. Into the fiery furnace they should go. And the king says, let me talk to him. He's really ticked off, and he pulls him aside and he says, guys, I brought you from the promised land. I gave you good jobs. You live in the kingdom. You live in the palace with me. You got a great situation here. All you got to do is fall down and worship. And they look at him and they go, listen, dude, we've been telling you from the beginning, we're not doing that. We've taken on a lot of things. We've got your Babylonian clothes, and we got your names, and we got all this stuff that we're wearing. But we are not giving this part up. And they tell him no. And he says, you know what? I gave you a chance. So he tells people, you bind them up and you throw them in the fiery furnace. And I'm so ticked off, we're going to make an example out of them. Let's fire that furnace up 7 times hotter than it's ever been fired up. And these guys, they grab them and they take them to the fiery furnace. And it's so hot that the guys that throw them in, the ones that are charged with tossing these 3 guys in the fire, are killed because it's so hot. And then Nebuchadnezzar says, let's just sit there and watch them burn, man. And they sit and they watch them burn. And all of a sudden Nebuchadnezzar goes, didn't we throw 3 people in? Because I'm counting 4. He kind of clears his eyes. Am I seeing this right? And I go, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yep, there's 4 in there. And there's this panic of, how did that happen? And then Nebuchadnezzar says, one of them looks like a son of the gods. Hey, Shadrach, Meshach, Abednego, hey, funny story. You guys come on out here. And they walk out of the fiery furnace. And the scripture actually says, they don't even smell like smoke. They don't even smell like smoke. And they walk out and he says, your God must be the real God. Your God must be the real God. Now, the interesting part of this story, the thing that makes it cool, that we've been talking about it for 2,000 plus years, is that they were thrown in. This story wouldn't be near as cool if Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were just taken to a really hot room in South Effingham County High School and made to spend the night. You know what I mean? My story is not going to make it 2,000 years. That's not going to happen. Their story does. It's interesting because they're thrown in. I think about these guys and why are they thrown in? They're thrown in because they don't bow down. Now, let me just carry you with me for a second. I could preach an entire sermon on the fact that they were thrown into the fiery furnace because there were people watching them that were jealous. And they're God's people, and when God begins to bless people, some people just get jealous and get their feelings hurt, and they want what you got, and they want to take your stuff. I could preach a whole sermon on that, but I'm not. I could talk all about the fact that they were thrown in because there's this crazy king, and he is so self-absorbed that he wants to protect his kingdom. See, the part of the story that maybe you've missed is that in chapter 2, there's a dream about a statue that Nebuchadnezzar has, and Daniel gives him an interpretation about it. You should go read it. It's phenomenal. And basically the whole premise of it is that his kingdom is going to fail because he's got this statue made of gold and silver and these different things, and then it falls and it crashes, and he tells him your whole kingdom's going to fail because you're not united and you're arrogant and you won't humble yourself before God. And so Nebuchadnezzar says, I'm going to do my own thing. I could preach on that for an hour. I could talk about our own self-absorbed culture, but I'm not. All I want to talk about is the fact that they wouldn't bow down. They wouldn't bow down. Why? You know, they look at him at some point in time, and they tell Nebuchadnezzar, verses 17 and 18, if we're thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he doesn't, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold that you've set up. Now, these guys, they trusted God to break their chains. They trusted God to break their chains to the point that they say, even if he doesn't. Now, I want you to come with me for a moment. These are guys that have been taken out of their home, and they're now foreigners. They're not sleeping in their bed anymore. You get me? They're uncomfortable. They're hot. They're tired. They're broken. These folks are living under the thumb of the king of Babylon. Their entire culture is being crushed around them. They're being bred out, is what's happening. They're trying to be, extinct. That's what's happening. The king wants everybody to be Babylonian. These guys are living in the most oppressive time in their history. And they trusted God to break their chains. How on earth could they do that? I think that they do it because they understand faith in a way that maybe we don't. Now, we as Americans, modern people, we have very slowly, maybe not so slowly, but we are becoming a people of faith that says, I'll believe it after I see it, and then I'll have faith. After I see it, I'll believe it, no problem. Just show me where it is. Just show me where God is, and I'll believe you. Now, these are folks, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, these are people that say, I believe it, and you're going to see it. Just watch. They look at Nebuchadnezzar and they say, we already believe. You're going to see it. And even if he doesn't, we're going to believe it anyway. That's faith, folks. That is faith like I hope to have. One of the things that I know about these guys is that they had the prophets to read. Isaiah is somebody that they would have kind of been familiar with, and they would have known what he says. In verse 2 of chapter 43, He's reciting words of God. He says, when you walk through the waters, I'll be with you. God's telling his people this. When you walk through the fires, you'll not be consumed. They knew that. They knew that. They knew that long before they ever got in it. They remember Jeremiah and his lack of confidence before the people, and God saying, don't be afraid of the people, Jeremiah, for I'll be with you and I'll protect you. These guys knew those stories. They watched the world around them and they were believing things that they didn't actually see themselves, but they knew that they happened and it was growing their faith. Man, if we could be people like that, if we could be people that would trust God and the promises that he's laid before us, and we trust him before the fiery furnaces of life ever find us. But you know, the truth about these guys is that they decided to follow Jesus long before the fiery furnace. They decided to follow God long before the fiery furnace. When Nebuchadnezzar threatened them with the fiery furnace, that was not when they were like, all right, huddle up. Huddle up. What are we going to say? What are we going to do? That was not the game plan. They already knew. They already knew before it happened where they were willing to go. That is a challenge for us. Are we ready to make a decision to follow Jesus before the fiery furnaces of our life come? Now, hear me. I'm not saying everybody in the room is going to be threatened with death or, thrown into a fiery furnace. That's not my point here. But there's a challenge in front of you. There's a crisis of conscience that waits on you. But you remember when I started this talk and I asked if there was ever a moment that's ever changed you? Remember that? For me, when it came to ministry, I was very, very new to ministry. I started at Forest Hills really working on staff and volunteering and being a part of this church in 1999. Show of hands, who was born? Like 5 of us. Awesome. 1999. Now, this was a day, April the 20th, 1999, was a very important day in the history of our country, in the history of teenage culture, and for me. April the 20th, 1999 was the day of the Columbine shooting. Does anybody know what that is? It's probably the first high school shooting that took place in America that got massive, massive national attention. And it got national attention for a lot of reasons. One, the internet was starting to blow up at that point in time. The news media got a hold of it. But one of the things that set this moment apart from all of the others was the fact that there were 2 young men that walked into a school and they took the lives of 14 people. 1 teacher, 13 students, and before every last one of them had their lives taken, they were asked the question, you still believe in God now? Now, such a heavy, heavy thing to process. I am trying to finish college. I am trying to become a youth pastor. I got my first cell phone. And about 2 weeks after I got my first cell phone and I came on staff at Forest Hills, this Columbine shooting happened. And all the students in our youth ministry got my phone number. And they began to call me and be like, did you hear about this? Did you hear what these students were asked before their lives were taken? Does this kind of stuff really happen in real life? I can't believe this. How does this happen? We're reading about this God that we're supposed to put our lives and our trust into, and this kind of stuff happens? Are you kidding me? No. Somebody very likely might have stood up in front of all of the students in Columbine and done a message like this and preached on the fiery furnace and asked them these kind of questions and said, I'm telling you there may not be a fiery furnace in your life, and blah, 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 blah. And then they walk into school that day. And hear me, My goal here is not to get into your emotions and manipulate how you think and feel and try and twist you into following Jesus. That's not my goal here. My goal here is to get you to a place where you ask yourself the question, how far would I really follow Jesus? Because if you don't ask yourself the question now, when your fiery furnace moment comes, you won't have thought about any answers. When that moment of peer pressure finds you, when that place of, should I go to church while I'm in college, finds you, and you go, no, and then you stay away from church for 25 years. It's a different kind of fiery furnace, but it's still one. When your friends try to pressure you to do stuff that you know you shouldn't be doing. When you get in cars with people that you know you shouldn't be getting in cars with. When you use language that you know you shouldn't be using. When you go places, when you do things, when you think thoughts, you have a fiery furnace moment. How far are you willing to go to follow Jesus? Because these guys made a decision to follow God long before they were thrown into the fiery furnace. We have lots to think about. God wants to break our chains. God wants to set us free. And the freedom that he wants to give us is not a freedom that just wants to make you feel better. It's a freedom to follow him and to do it like these guys did, knowing that you can follow him to all the ends. You have the freedom to follow him completely if you want it. Folks, I challenge you to think on these things the next few days as you meet with your churches, small groups, as you're in your work teams doing devotions. Chew on these things. Think about it. Let's pray. Oh, Lord, the fiery furnace of these three boys has so much to teach us. So much to teach us. Lord, may we learn to trust you because of the promises that we've read. Lord, may we trust you because the lives of the Christians that mentor us and love us and lead us speak so much truth into us. And may we follow you. May we learn from you. May we listen to your voice a little more every day. We pray in the name of Jesus.
bring light to the darkness. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. Great are you, Lord. And it's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. We pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. You give life, you are love. Bring light to the stars. You give hope. You restore every heart that is broken. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise, pour out our praise. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise to you only. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great are you, Lord. All the earth will shout your praise. Our hearts will cry. These bones will sing. Great we're so thankful for everything you do for us and everything that you've done in Scripture that we've gotten to see. Just how awesome you are and that you do break every chain. God, we are just here before you and we just want to lift everything up tonight that we can just take it in. God, I just pray that you'll be with us tonight, that we can get some rest and have a great night's sleep so that tomorrow we'll be ready to continue to serve you. So God, just be with us, we pray. Amen.
All right, guys, listen, just a few things. I told y'all before supper, you are going to meet with your church groups now. I'm going to remind you where to go, okay? So listen for your church. Wait till I'm finished. Don't get up and start leaving. That's distracting. After you get finished, we'll have snack in here again. Remember, don't take food out of here. I'll tell y'all a gross story. Last night when all was dark and I was walking down the hallway, I won't tell you where I was. Looked down, there was a little friend. He was about this long. He was black. He had wings, and he crunched when I squashed him. Okay, friends? So cool, he'll be crawling over your face and pooping in your mouth if you take food to your bedroom. Yeah. All right? Think on that for a minute. Another thing, y'all did great with attire this morning. Good job. Keep it up tomorrow. I got loads of shorts and they're awesome. Second thing, like I said before dinner also, don't be late in the morning. Get up, get dressed, get here and get your breakfast. Be out there waiting. You could even get